everyone, and welcome to my easy step-by-step how to make a candy wrapper tutorial. This is a really fun gift box that looks like a really big candy wrapper, and I'm going to show you step-by-step how to make this. It's perfect for a gift card, or you can fill it with candy. And I made mine for Christmas, but you can obviously make it for any occasion that you want to. Just change up the designer series paper that you use. So I will also put a PDF tutorial on my blog, stampinwithcharlene.com, because there are a lot of measurements involved to make this project. If you follow along step by step, pause the video, rewind, it's easy to make, but I wanted to also provide you with the written instructions too, so that you won't have any problems. So let's get started. This is the candy wrapper box, so let's get started with this easy step-by-step guide on how to make it. I am going to show you the supplies that you will need. You're going to need your paper trimmer. You are going to need a pencil, tear and tape adhesive, 2 rubber bands, and some paper snips. Now I, of course, used all of my Stampin' Up! Supplies to make this, but for the purpose of this step-by-step guide, I am going to just use a piece of plain white paper so that you can more easily see all of the different measurements and where to mark everything and where to cut everything. So the first thing that you want to do is start off with a piece of whatever design you want of paper that is cut down to 11 1/4 by 9 3/4. And you can use any paper you want. If you would like to use a really intricate pattern, then I suggest taking a piece of just plain white paper and making a template and then just tracing it onto your designer series paper that you're going to use, because some of the designer series paper patterns are really intricate and it would be kind of difficult to see all the different lines and cutting marks that you need to make. So you might just want to go ahead and make a pattern on a piece of plain white paper. Okay, so you're going to start off with your 11 1/4 by 9 3/4 piece of paper. So now we're going to start and do all of the scoring that we need to do. So you have a 9 3/4 inch side, and then you have an 11 1/4 inch side. Along the 9 3/4 inch side, you need to make score lines at the 2 inch mark, and then at the 7 3/4 inch mark. So you will have 2 score lines here, one at 2 inches and one at 7 3/4. And then flip your paper around to the 11 1/4 inch side. And on this side, you're going to make your score lines at 1 1/4 inch. Let me make sure I have it nice and straight. Okay, 1 1/4 inch. And then just slide your paper down to 3 1/4 inches. And then 6 1/4 inches, and finally 8 1/4 inches. So now we have our score lines going, our horizontal and our vertical score lines. So if you want, you can just go ahead and fold the paper so that your score lines are nice and firm, and it'll be a lot easier to do the next steps if you have your score lines folded and so that they really stand out and you can see where they are. And make our pencil lines, but I want to point out two important tips for you. And those are, number one, make sure you work with the outside of your paper on the bottom. You want the inside of the box to be on the top where you make all of your pencil lines, so that when you put the box together, you won't see any of the lines that you make or any of the little mistakes that you make. Or you can make a template like I did here, or like I'm gonna do for you, and then just use the template and trace it onto your designer series paper. But in that case, you also want to trace it on the inside so that you can hide all of the marks. The other vital thing is that you need to work with the paper going in this direction. When we're working with the 11¼ inch side going horizontally, you want to make sure that the 1¼ inch score line is to your left. All of the measurements are going to be done having this score line to your left. That's really important, or else it won't come out right. So be sure to do that too. So take your paper trimmer. You have your paper with your 1¼ inch score line to the left, and you have your pencil. And we're gonna put our paper in the paper trimmer just as if you were gonna score it or cut it. And I like to use a mechanical pencil that is narrow at the tip so it fits inside of the ruler that is on the paper trimmer. And what we're gonna do is draw a pencil mark down at the 2 inch mark, and we're gonna just use the guide. It's the same guide that you use when you're cutting or scoring, and we're just gonna use it to guide our pencil. So along the 11¼ inch side, we're making a pencil mark at 2 inches, at 4 inches, at 7 inches, at 8¾ inches, whoops, and then finally at 10½ inches. So I have my 1¼ inch score line, and then 2, 4, 7, 8¾ and 10½. And then I'm going to turn my paper around, and on the 9¾ inch side, I am going to, just along the 2 inch and the 7¾ inch score lines, I am going to also make a pencil line. So you will end up with this. And now we're gonna work with the 1¼ inch side score line to the left, 11¼ 9¾ So by making the pencil lines where you made the score line, it's just an easier way for you to see where those score lines are. And we're gonna make some additional pencil lines now along the 9¾ inch side. So we are going to draw a pencil line, and let's remember we are working, see I almost messed it up there. We are working with the 1¼ inch score line. Let's put it at the top this time. And we are going to make a pencil mark at one inch, 3 inches, 6¾ inches, and 8¾ inches. And you might wonder, what are all these pencil marks for? What are you doing here? You're driving me crazy. Well, this is just, you're gonna see in the next part. It's to help us make the triangles. So you can put your paper trimmer aside. Turn your paper back so your 1 1/4 inch score line is on your left. And now what we're gonna do is, this is my 2-inch score line at the top. And you're gonna see that right here, where the line, the 2-inch line that we just made, it intersects with the score line. So what I want you to do is put an X there at the 2-inch, the 4-inch, 7 inches, and 8 3/4, and then the one that's down here. So across all of these spots, see the lines where they intersect at the score line, I want you to put an X. So that's 2 inches, 4 inches, 7 inches, 8 3/4 inches, and 10 1/2 inches. Now come down here to the score line that's at the bottom at 7 3/4 inches, and you are going to make an X in the same place, but just down at the bottom. So you're gonna have an X at the top, the bottom, top, bottom, at 2, 4, 7, 8 3/4, and 10 1/2. Now we're gonna move on to building the triangle part of this. So what you wanna do is fold along the 1 1/4 inch score line like that. And then let me zoom in for this part. So now you want to take a straight edge. You can use a ruler, you can use whatever you'd like, and you are going to make a line from this X that you just made up to this line that we just drew. So here's the top of my paper. This is the 11 1/4 inch side, and I am going to draw a line from the X to the outer corner, and then from down here, from the X to the outer corner, and I'm gonna do the same thing at the bottom. I'm gonna take my ruler and draw a line from the X to the outside, and that's the first triangle. So let me just use my paper snips now and show you. I'm gonna snip it out. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do, how this is going to progress down through the rest of the paper to make all of the triangles for the box. So I'm gonna take my paper snips now, and I am just going to snip out a little triangle. And all of these lines suddenly start to make sense, don't they? So I'm gonna trim the first one out and the second one. And now they're starting to make sense and starting to come together. So the next thing we want to do is go to our next score line, fold it in. So this is the score line that should be at, this should be at the 3 1/4 inch mark. And we're going to do the same thing. From our star to the corner, we're gonna make a line, or from our X, I'm sorry, another line, and then the same thing down here. Oops, from there to the X, and from there to the X. And you also see why you wanna use the inside of the paper. So all this is hidden. And now I'm gonna use my paper snips and snip out these two triangles. There and there. And now it should look like that. Let me zoom out again. I'm having a hard time zooming here. There we go. Okay, so, and I'm folding it under as I go along my score line. You can kind of see the box taking shape there a little bit, right? So now come down here to the next score line, which is at 6 1/4. Fold that under and do the same thing there. From the X to the pencil mark, and the same thing down here at the bottom. From the X to the pencil mark, and from the X to the pencil mark. And believe it or not, we're almost done. Here. And you can make these with any designer series paper that you have. Making this for Christmas, obviously. Then we'll come down here. This is the 8 1/4 inch score line. This is obviously Christmas, but you know, I'm already thinking of Valentine's Day projects, so this would be so cute to use some Valentine's Day designer series paper, which you will be able to see soon when the new mini catalog comes out. The Valentine's Day suite, I don't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's breathtaking. You're gonna love it. So that would be fun, right? To make one of these for Valentine's Day. Fill it with candy, of course. Okay, so now we have that. And yes, this one is a little bit smaller, but just go with it, okay? It works. And now we're gonna come down here to the very end, and what you're gonna do with this part is kind of do the opposite. From the X, you're gonna go to just to the end of the paper, to the 11 1/4 inch, where we cut it at 11 1/4 inches. And we'll do that at the top, the bottom, and the top. And now all those pencil marks made total sense. And then finally, we will cut out our last triangle. Just like that. And now I want you to grab when you're done with your triangles, I want you to grab your tear and tape adhesive and your rubber bands, because now we're going to assemble the box. Now you'll suddenly see why the fact that that last, or the second to the last triangle, which was a little bit different, it doesn't matter, because we are going to, okay, here's the 1 1/4 inch side, and we're just gonna fold the box over like that. Okay, so here's the 1 1/4 inch side, and I want you to put some tear and tape adhesive just right inside the score line there. So let me just, I'm gonna mess this up a little bit. Put some tear and tape adhesive right there, and then some right along in here. And I think you can fill this with Hershey Kisses, you can fill it with candy, you can fill it with, more importantly, you can put candy and a gift card in here. But what I would do is, if you were gonna put a gift card, see this part of the box right here, which is larger, a gift card will fit perfectly right there, but I would adhere the gift card. Put some tape on it so that it stays in there nice and securely. Okay, so now I'm gonna just remove the tear and tape adhesive and stick the box together. And And all of the measurements will be on my blog on a downloadable PDF so that you can follow along with the video and also see the written measurements. So now I'm just going to take this side and match it up with the shorter end, just like that. And then you want to pinch this end together. Okay, see how I did that? And take your rubber band and put it over the end like that. This is to help keep it secure and keep the box in shape so that you can put the ribbon on more easily. And it's just easier to work with when you have the rubber bands on the end. And there is your step-by-step guide to making a candy wrapper box. So let me show you another design that I made. This I made a while ago. This is the first one I ever made. It says wedding wishes on it, if you can see that, and it has some beautiful pearls along the bottom. So you can make these candy wrapper boxes for any occasion. Like I said, you can put them as a party favor on everyone's dish for the holidays. You can give it as a beautiful, this would be a beautiful wedding gift with a gift card inside of it. Anything that you want, you just use your imagination. It's just use my easy step-by-step candy wrapper box guide and have at it. Have fun making things. So maybe a little tedious at parts, huh? But if you take your time and just go along step by step, pause, rewind, look at the PDF tutorial so you can see the written measurements, you shouldn't have a problem. And you can make a lot of these. If you are having close family for Christmas, you can put one on everyone's plate or make a bunch of them now and have them ready for Valentine's Day. Or you could even make some for the new year. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, if you would click the subscribe button and click the little bell icon. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed this easy step-by-step how to make a candy wrapper box tutorial. Have a good night, and I will see you next week.